Hey everybody, welcome back to Road Reg. In today's video, we are going to be having a quick update on my Michelin Pilot Sport 5 tyres, as we've got a beautiful, crisp, late winter, early spring day with some dry roads. Now I know that my last video on the PS5s was on a horrible rainy day, which was good and bad. It's good because I'm in a rear-wheel drive car that's typically not good in the wet, and it's kind of pushing those PS5s to their limits, because wet grip is the most important thing for this car as a daily, I think. As you know, the weather over the last year has been horrific, and it's just been raining, so it's nice to come out on a dry day like today and look at that. Just enjoy the grip and be able to push these PS5s a little bit more than you can do on a horrible rainy day. So, what are they like in the dry, and how are they after, I think, a year and a half of use? And now they're a bit worn. Are they still good? And the answer is yes, they're absolutely fine. They grip absolutely fantastically, even in the rain still. So there isn't much to report back. Like, I think the most important thing for me is the fact that the grip levels haven't changed that much from when they were new. Perhaps they were slightly better in the dry when they were newer and less worn, but guys, the difference isn't that much. This is the most consistent tyre I think I've ever had on my car. I really mean that. And the car passed its MOT with no advisories, and they didn't mention anything about the tyre wear. I'll admit, I've checked them, but I haven't measured them or anything. Like, Michelin have the wear indicators on there. Actually, maybe what we'll do is we'll check those wear indicators out. Yeah, let's do that. I'll pull over, and I would highly recommend going back and watching my first video on the Michelin PS5s, where you'll see the tyres were fairly new then. They weren't brand new on that video. I had them on the car for a bit, but you can compare for yourselves. Go and watch that video. I will pull over and we're going to have a look at the wear indicators to see how they're looking on these tyres now that they've had over a year and a half's worth of driving. And when I do drive, I like to cruise, but I also like to give this car a little bit of stick and use those tyres. And this car, being rear-wheel drive and having all that torque go through the rear wheels, and the fact it has a diff, it does work the rear tyres very hard, especially in the dry. So the front tyres appear to be in really good condition, as you can see here. Better than I expected, to be honest with you. Nice, even wear across the tyre. Okay, so I can't see any perishing of the tread edges, especially in the middle of the tyre. Everything is looking good. So let's go to the rear of the car and see how the rear tyres are doing. So naturally, you can see that there's significantly more wear on the rear tyres, but that is to be expected because of the nature of this car. Plus, I do have a bit of a heavy right foot and like to, give it the beans once in a while. So we've got plenty of tread left on these rear tyres, probably enough to get us through until maybe next spring. But obviously I will check these tyres before then, because this is part of my maintenance routine. I like to check all 4 tyres just to make sure there are no surprises. And luckily today we don't have any surprises. The tyres are looking great. So just to conclude, my thoughts on the Michelin PS5 tyre, simply awesome. It's one of the most consistent tyres I've tested or experienced and tried and lived with from when they were new to now. The grip levels are really consistent. I haven't noticed a drop in grip when they have worn, and I very much noticed that when I had the Goodyear Eagle F1 Super Sports on. There was a significant drop of grip in the wet, not in the dry, but in the wet. When they were new, they were passable. They were better than the Super Sports, but when they wore, they were terrible in the wet, and that's why I moved to the Michelin PS5s. So yeah, but I do miss the sporty feel of the Goodyear Eagle F1 Super Sports and the directness. And they are just slightly better for dry grip, especially when you're really pushing this car on track. On the road, it's marginal, but on track, they were fantastic. So I guess you've just got to strike that balance between, do you want the best grip possible in the dry? And also something to notice, they have better rim protection as well. So that's something that I'm kind of confused as to why Michelin haven't done that on the PS5. So Michelin, if you're watching, I doubt you are, but this is something I would like to see in the future, is just some better curb/rim protection on the tyres. The Goodyear Eagle F1 Super Sports had that, and that's a nice little feature. It's a nice little safety feature, you know, when you're parking near curbs, knowing that you have a little bit more tyre hanging over the alloy, you know, to protect you if you were to hit that curb. But yeah, I think compared to the Goodyears, the Michelins on the road, it's marginal. But I'm talking about dry grip, and you guys mentioned what are my thoughts about it in the dry, and yeah, it's marginal between the two. But like I said, it's a balance, isn't it? You know, here in the UK, especially around my area, 70% of the year, maybe 60, no, let's say 70, the weather's bad, it's cold and wet, you know, so that is why I have the Michelin PS5 tyre, because I like to have that safety in the winter months or the rainy months, because we're driving a high performance rear wheel drive car with a limited slip diff that is notorious for being a little bit snappy when the weather isn't so good. So I want the best tyre for those conditions, and I think the Michelin PS5 strikes the best balance between wet weather grip and summer dry performance. So for me, it's the perfect all year round tyre, and I would recommend this tyre to literally anyone with any car. It is that good. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this video has helped you and answered any of your questions or queries. And it's nice to give you guys an update on these tyres anyway, because I haven't done that. And I will keep you posted in the future when I change tyres, whether or not I go back to Goodyear or whatever. I'll be sure to let you know when that happens. So yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.